Good morning and welcome to our Community and Education Partners meeting. The Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce is proud to convene our partnership with the Bibb County School District to inform our community leaders to discuss how we can come together to support students, parents, and teachers during the return to school. We appreciate each of you for taking time to be here today. Now I want to welcome Lynn Farmer, our Director of Talent and Workforce for the Greater Macon Chamber, to introduce our distinguished guest.
Good morning. Thank you, Yvonne. And I am very excited to be here today to convene faith-based and business partners, community partners, to hear from Dr. Jones how we can all step up and support him and our schools, our teachers, our parents, and all of them involved in getting our kids back to school and keeping them safe during COVID. I had a conversation with you, Dr. Jones, a couple of weeks ago and wanted you to understand, and I hope that you were feeling this from the community, that you are not in this alone, that we understand that you have a big task and that this community has a role to play in that. And what I kept hearing from people is we want to help, but we're not sure how. So what can we do to help? And so the Chamber, in its role as convener, is happy to bring all of these partners together today to hear from you how we can help as community partners. Some outside the box thinking maybe, if you can just make us aware of what we can do. I'm not going to do a big introduction because everyone here knows who you are, but thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I understand you have a PowerPoint and a presentation. At the end of that, we will take some questions. So those who are on this can certainly type in questions in the contact section, and we will be screening those and try to cover any that you don't cover in your presentation. So I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Lynn. I greatly appreciate that, and I'm very happy to be here today. I also want to thank Yvonne for allowing this to come together. As you know, this week, the Board of Education had a board meeting and they approved our reopening plan. And for those of you who are keeping up with the national news, you now know that public education is right in the middle of this whole pandemic that's going on, and different cultures are starting to clash. And so I will be honest, I'm very thankful that I ran into Lynn and she said the community wants to help, because I know I'm not in this alone. I know I and the school board are not in this alone. We as a community are going to deal with this if we're going to be successful for our children. So I would like today to share the PowerPoint that was given to the board during our board meeting, so you will understand the process that we use to put together our reopening plan, recognize where we're going, and then be able to let me share at the very end, for those who may have heard the board meeting, but this will be new for you. Here's what I think you can do to help us. And so then we'll take the questions and we'll put all this together to continue to refine our plan. So we have three instructional models that we developed. The first one talks about distance learning. I've shared that with you. I'm greatly excited that the board has allowed us to buy new technology for our students, so they will have some of the best technology available. Unfortunately, some of it will not arrive until September or October, but it's coming and we will be better then than we are now. In the meantime, once school starts, we will issue the devices that we currently have to our students. That was pretty successful for us this past spring, and we're going to continue that process until the new equipment comes on board. And we have a process for doing face-to-face instruction. I'm very excited about what we've learned over the past spring and summer for that as well. So when we look at instruction, what you're going to find is that we have a new learning management system that our teachers will be using and learning during the month of August. It's similar to what the colleges use. It's called Canvas, and we're very excited about what you will see when your child is, for example, learning virtually. It's going to be different than it was last spring. Here are a couple of ways. One, teachers will be working from school. We believe having their interactive panels, being inside the classroom with all their materials will be great. We have cameras inside of our classrooms, so teachers will be able to have students dial in collectively, get some instruction. The teachers can record their lessons, and then students and parents can watch those later. That's a great benefit for us. You also then will be seeing more rigor. Last spring, what students did was they reviewed the standards from the previous year. Now, they're going to be learning new material. Last spring, students were trying to improve their grades. Now, they don't have grades. They have to create them. So I don't believe you're going to see a big difference between students who are learning online versus those who are in classroom for person-to-person instruction. When I last checked, we had more than 6,500 people who had signed up for our online option that I will talk about later. Operationally, we've done a lot and we've learned. The board has allowed us to put aside more than $500,000 so that we can buy the proper equipment for our students. So we will be testing, scanning for temperatures for staff and students when they come to school every day. We will have hand sanitizers available. We will have some shields up in common areas like the main office, so staff will be separated from others. And we'll be able to ensure that we have a great, safe environment for our teachers and staff and students when we get there. We're still looking at our bus routes because we want to make sure that the students on the bus will be safe. Something you will see differently. While we're not going to mandate that masks be worn, we're going to say they will be worn to the maximum extent possible. That means on the bus, students are going to have masks on. In the hallways, they will have a mask on. If we have the cafeteria operating and students are in there, they will have their mask on. Lunch will not be served in the cafeteria though. Students will have lunch in their classrooms. The intent is to have small cohorts of students together. Another change you will see. Students will not be changing classes as much as they did previously. Teachers will change classes because we want to reduce the traffic inside the hallway. We've also continued to look at the resources that we have. Again, we're very thankful for the new technology that's going to be delivered, and we're very thankful that we are able to work with the North Central Health District to help us notify parents when something happens. Student services and those students who have special education will also have assistive technology. They are going to have teachers who will be available for them, and we have now figured out how we can better serve them than we did last spring. So for those who have students with special needs, recognize that you're going to be doing some of your conferences virtually, some will be in person. The students' IEPs will be implemented to the very best of our ability. We're going to put in place a good faith effort to meet all the requirements that are necessary. And with communications, we're going to use all the communication tools we have so that we're able to share with the community and parents what we're doing and why we're doing it. That's what it's going to look like when students are in school. But some of you may have heard that for the first time, we're going to have a remote learning option available as well. Some parents told us in the survey they did not want their students to come back to school in any way. And so we're offering a remote learning option. That option will still be available through tomorrow, Friday, and then we will take through Sunday evening to figure out who asked for what. Again, the last time I checked, more than 6,600 people had asked for their students to be in this remote learning option. But let me tell you, it's going to be different than what we saw last spring. One way is these students will be taught by a Bibb County school teacher, but we're going to have a special meeting with the parents and the students, because when you learn remotely, there's more responsibility for the parents and the students to make sure they do it right. If you're in the classroom, the teacher can take on more of that. But when you're doing it remotely, the parent and the student have more responsibility for making it as rigorous as it can be. We will have a limited number of devices available for those who do not have one, but if you sign up for remote learning, you're supposed to have your own device. And so if you sign up and you don't have one, do not expect us to be able to give you one. And again, we have registration open through Friday. While we were working on that remote learning option, Bibb County School District was also looking, though, at having its own virtual school. We call this our VIP Academy. The VIP Academy is for students who are in grades 6 through 12. The remote learning option I just talked about was for students in all grades. The VIP Academy is for students who are in grades 6 through 12, those who have been homeschooled or who have been enrolled in schools outside the district, and they would like a remote learning option as well. We're going to limit this to about 100 students. The curriculum will not be taught by a Bibb County teacher. It'll be used curriculum from Edgenuity, a software package that we have used that covers the Georgia curriculum, but it's not the same. And again, if you enroll in the VIP Academy, and the last time I checked, we had more than 60 people who had already, you're going to have to, again, make sure that you're willing to take on the rigors of what that program requires. The last part of what I want to share before we get to our questions is that we've partnered greatly with the North Central Health District. As of September 5th, they have done a great job of increasing the number of people who are tested in our community as far as if they have COVID-19 or not. They've done a better job of being able to turn the test around quickly. One disappointing point for all of us is that the percent of people who are testing positive is around 7%. And I've been told that the number that you'd like to see that at is closer to 2%. And so we have some issues in our community that not all other communities have. Also, the North Central Health District has shared with us this idea of what they call community spread. If you look at where people are getting coronavirus, you will find that a lot of them were located in the Bibb County Jail. Some were in a health and rehab facilities. Some have been in some of our other senior care facilities. Those are specific locations, and that accounted for about 7% of the issues that we saw. But the other 93% were just out there. And what we have learned is that if it's that high, and if the numbers are as high as far as people contracting coronavirus, then we have to be very careful. In fact, the guidance from the CDC currently is that if you have more than 100 cases in the community, and that's 100 per 100,000 people, then you're in a what they call significant spread category, which means you really need to be careful. That number was 100 per 100,000 people. During the most recent reporting period, Bibb County was at 266. That's 2.6 times the number that they were talking about. That's why I said that if we had to start school now, we would be in a virtual learning environment. The CDC is looking at this as well as the governor to see if that number is about right. And I mean the number of if it's over 100 or not. But currently that's the guidance. And what we've seen is an uptick in the people who tested positive. That is because we have to be aware that when we go out, if we're not social distancing, if we're not wearing our mask, then we're going to end up spreading it to others. And currently it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the symptoms and the test results to get back. I was told that for the 4th of July weekend, for example, the results from that may not show up until the end of July. That is one of the reasons why we decided to go ahead and have virtual graduation for our 6 high schools, because we'd already scheduled them for the end of July. And based on these results, we did not want to add to the problem. And the North Central Health District did recommend that you avoid large collections like that of people while we're in this situation. But for our seniors, we're going to do the best we can to make it the best graduation experience they can have, knowing that they're still going to miss out on wearing the cap and gown and walking across the stage. So the road ahead for us is very interesting. On the 7th of July, we had our board meeting. On August 25th, I will be able to announce to the community if we will return to school on September 8th in either an all virtual environment or with students coming back to school for in-person instruction. Between those dates, the school district and I will be meeting with business community as well as parents and staff to improve our planning. And so we're getting better. We've already drafted a calendar and we shared that with, for our staff so they're able to see what we're doing. I need for you to recognize that currently my recommendation is, even though we're starting after Labor Day, We're not going to have any breaks in October, no fall break. We're also looking at taking away some of the days from the Thanksgiving break. That Monday and Tuesday, the week of Thanksgiving, we think we need to have students back in school because we need to get more students into instruction. And we're looking at the first semester not ending until January 15th. And this is different for us. Students normally come to school, we have the Christmas break, and that's the separation for the semesters. This time, the separation is going to end on January 15th. And that's because with the later starting date, we still need to be able to get in our days. This proposed student calendar has about 163 days. That's not the 180 most people are used to. And so what we're going to have to do is make sure that as we get ready for students during the month of August, we're doing all we can to make sure every day counts. And I need your help with that. Every day matters. And so I will be sharing with the chamber, and they will share with you how you can help us. The areas where I see concern is with food. As you know, we have a summer feeding program. That summer feeding program for us usually ends around this time, the first or second week of July. When we thought we were starting school on August 10th, we had a problem. That problem is now bigger with us starting school on August 8th. And so if you can help us feed our students during that time period, it'd be very beneficial and helpful. Our nutrition program went into the red from March through the time that we're stopping. We've already used the CARES money that we've got to reimburse our nutrition program as best we could, but it still wasn't enough. And so I need your help with food for those students. We're also going to need your help with child care and supervision of students. If parents are going to be able to go back to work, and if they have to leave students at home while we're doing this virtual learning, child care is going to be important. And so I know some churches have said that they are willing to provide their spaces and some church members to help. If you can do that, it would be great. We're going to need help with internet access. We have some dead spots throughout the community. And if students are going to be trying to learn online, and even if it's in-person instruction, there's going to be some of that. We got to have internet access. We're going to leave our internet turned on 24/7, so students, if they need to, can park out in the parking lot and be able to link into our Wi-Fi. I'm asking that the county does the same thing and that businesses do that. And let's publicize that. Get the public library to do it as well. We need more internet access. We need more hotspots for our students as well. And I want to thank Cox for the help that they gave us where they were able to offer high band hotspots for our students. But we're going to have to continue that. And we're a poor community. Not everybody can afford it. So that would be helpful as well. And I think all of us are going to have to be flexible with our employees as they're trying to figure out how to manage their students and work. We're looking at that, and I could use your help. How can you share this information with us? I will send a QR code to the chamber. In fact, I think they have it now, and they can share that with you. It's a form where you can fill out and say you're willing to help. Miss Stephanie Hartley, Dr. Lori Rogers, and others then would be reaching out to you to show how we can pull this together. We have the month between now and September to make this work, and together I believe we can do that. And with that, Lynn, I'd be more than happy to take the questions. And I'll be honest, I sincerely apologize for the PowerPoint not working. I've gotten it to work before.
So, oh, don't feel bad. We had the same problem on this side in trying to get it to work. So anyway, I think the important thing is that we heard a lot of great information from you today. And we will have this available for people to go through all of the slides because we did have some in the first part that was missed, but we'll have that available on our Facebook and on our webpage, and we will also send it out in an email to all those who were invited to join us today. So there will be an opportunity for folks to review this information because I think it is a lot of really good information. I think that y'all have been doing a lot of hard work to get ready for the school year. That's very obvious in all the plans that you've got. I think you covered everything, but I do want to emphasize a couple of things because these are questions that have come up several times from different people, even as you've been sitting here presenting. There's a question, about the coordinator to assist churches daycares? Is there someone at the system who will be working with them individually as they try to develop plans to help you with both classroom and virtual learning?
Yes, we do. I mentioned Dr. Lori Rogers. We also have a parent facilitator who's a part of that process that pretty much leads our parental involvement process. So if they fill out that form from that QR code that you have, Lori will have the right person reach out to them and make that coordination happen.
Okay, and will they be talking in groups and working to give feedback and come up with ideas with Lori? Is that a part of this process also?
It is.
Okay, so that was a question. And then another one is several people have asked about the backpack program that functions in the schools, if there will be any limitations with that because of COVID, or if they will still be able to continue those programs to send food home on the weekends for children.
I think those programs are important and we would like to continue them. What we will ask is that volunteers do like everyone else. They're going to have to report to the front office. We're going to have them sign in. We're going to take temperatures. We're going to ask the questions about the symptoms to see if we believe they're safe. We will ask questions about how the food was packed and if we're confident that it has not been contaminated as well. And then after that process, then if the families are willing to participate, I see us still being able to continue that process. The same thing goes for those who are part of the Read United process as well, with helping us with that from United Way. But it goes to all volunteers. The key is coming to school, signing in, temperature check, a overall assessment, and then being able to follow through with the rules. And again, in certain areas, you're going to be required to wear a mask. And so that's what we're going to look for.
Okay. And then, of course, I've had a lot of questions about daycare, and I'm assuming that ongoing conversations are taking place with daycare providers, but I think you also mentioned that you see the faith-based community as being able to support and help in this area too.
I'm very hopeful of that. I've had 2 phone calls already from different facilities, that churches that said they were willing to offer spaces that way. Again, so was Head Start, said they were willing to. In a perfect world, I would think that our child care facilities would be able to say, we have spaces available, we have some employees, and if people want, here's the time to do it. The challenge is they won't be able to come every day. And I think that's where people don't want to pay for children being there when they're actually in school. And so, again, I've asked Dr. Lori Rogers to reach out to the daycare facilities to help us with that. I think last spring, Navison did a great job. They opened up their own facility for their employees, so they were able to provide daycare. We're looking at something like that as well in our for our employees. And that's where I need the business community to help out. It's going to be hard for people to work and take care of their children. That's why we're doing our best to open. But again, I think we have to do it safely.
So really, you're looking at the business community to come up with creative, out-of-the-box ideas to perhaps change their business model a little bit if they're offering daycare, in order to provide the services that are going to be needed.
I think so. My daughter-in-law, who works for Georgia Power, for example, was able to take her child with her to her work site because they had a room inside their facility to provide daycare. We're now trying to figure out how to do that as well. Now, we're all going to have to think differently until we get through this, and I'm not confident it will be over until, I'm going to say, February of next year.
Okay. And I think employers, do need to understand that parents are in a very difficult position trying to work, and yet they're the primary caregiver for their children. And now they're being asked to supervise those children's education at home and work with the school system to make that happen.
The other thing that's happening, and I talked about it with perceptions, a lot of our employees are afraid. They're fearful. And if all you hear on the news is that you can't go out and that you need to socially distance, that's what they hear. But then when we say we're going to open school and they have to go, I'll be quite honest with you, 2 days ago, I had some of the new teachers we've hired say they didn't want to come unless our new teacher orientation was going to be virtual. And so we're going to have to figure out how to get people comfortable with the idea of coming back out and being involved. And if the only people they hear that from is the school system, people are going to believe we're just doing it because of what's happening nationally. And so if businesses believe it's safe, their employees need to hear that, and then they need to share it with their friends so that we're able to open school as much as we can. Now, I believe that this is going to be a community decision. On August 25th, I have done a lot of researching and looking to see where we are, but people are going to have to come together. If I open schools and kids don't come, we lost out. It was wrong. And so we got to be together on this, which is why I've called the mayor and which is why I'm now talking with the business community. We open or close together.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Tell us one more time how we, as a business community and community partners, contact the school system to let you know that we can, or we are willing to help, or we're willing to be at the table where those conversations are taking place.
I appreciate that. So let me close by saying, again, I want to thank Yvonne and you, Lynn, for giving us this opportunity to share with our business partners how you can help and also explain to you our situation. I believe the best way for you to help us get through this is by using the QR code that Lynn will share with you very soon about, and it just asks, who are you? What is it you have to offer? And point of contact so we can then make communication. I think this is going to work when we have not face-to-face, but direct communication between each other so that we can say, here's what you can offer and here's where our needs are. Transportation, food, internet, childcare, safety and security are going to be keys for us being successful. And that's where we need help.
Okay, and the chamber will be sharing that QR code. Will also be sharing information on how to make sure that children are fed during this time, and we will have this information up on our webpage, on our Facebook, and we will be emailing it out to membership and other partners who were invited. Thank you again, Dr. Jones, for your insight and for your leadership during a very trying time for our community. I want to thank everyone who joined us today for just such an important discussion about how we all work together and support our schools, our children, our teachers, because we really are all in this together and we will succeed together. On Friday, August 7th, we will begin our town hall forums again at the chamber, and we're having a conversation with Chris Clark, President and CEO of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. Registration information will be available on maconchamber.com and on our Facebook page. We encourage you to sign up, and we wish you all a happy weekend, a safe weekend, and hope that you will think about this important community conversation and how you can help and contact us. Thank you.